Writing equations of lines. Now we're going to look at linear equations. Later we'll look at quadratic equations and absolute value equations. But right now we're going to look at linear. Now we've been going over three forms of writing an equation. One is the slope-intercept form, where it's y equals mx plus b. Your m is your slope and your b is your y-intercept. The second one we've looked at is standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. This is when a and b are integers, both a and b are not 0, and a is greater than 0. And the last one we looked at was point slope. Point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This is where your x1 and your y1 is a point on the line, and your m, of course, is your slope. Alright, now the steps to writing an equation of a line is the first thing you need to do is you must find the slope. So if you're given a graph, remember you do rise over run. Count how many you go up and then how many you go over. If you're given 2 points, you're going to find the slope by using the equation. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The third thing you're going to do is to locate the y-intercept or coordinate point if given on the graph. So if you're graphing it, you need to locate a coordinate point or the y-intercept. If there is no graph, you're going to use a given point and put that into point slope form first. So you're going to take the slope and the point and put it in point slope form. Then the third thing you're going to do is you can change from point slope form to any other form that you need to, like standard form or slope intercept form if it's asked. Alright, so this first one we're going to do, given a graph, write the equation of, this is supposed to be we got erased there, the line. So the first one we're going to write it in slope intercept form. Now I've been given the graph, so I'm going to find the slope. First one, rise over run. So I'm going to start at this point right here. It's 1, 1. I need to rise 1, 2. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and then over 1. This point is supposed to be down here. Of course, when you freehand graphs, it's very hard. Okay, so I rise 3 and go over 2. Now I need to identify the y-intercept. Now, because I've graphed this, I can directly see the y-intercept is going to be right here, which is at -2. So, now, since I know the slope and the y-intercept, I don't have to put it in point slope form first. I can go ahead and write it in the equation y equals mx plus b. So y equals 3x, which is their slope, we said was 3 over 1, which is 3, minus 2, because my y-intercept's -2. Let's look at the second one. We're going to be asked to be writing the equation of the line in point slope form first. So, I have my line here. First thing I need to do is find the slope. So I do rise over run. So I'm going to go up from here to here is 1. So you go plus 1. And then I'm going to go over. I go over 1, 2 places from 2 to 4. So that's over 2. So that means my slope is up to 1, to the right 2, so my slope is 1/2. Alright, now I'm going to identify any point on the line. Notice the y-intercept is between these 2 points, and you don't know if it's 2/3, 1/3, or even 1/2. So what I'm going to do is to find a point on the line, and you can use any of the points. I'm going to pick the point 2, 5 right here. I'm going to take it and put it in y-intercept, or point slope form. So I do y minus y1. My y1 is going to be this 5, so y minus 5 equals my m, which is 1/2, times x minus x1, which was the 2, and I put it in there. And then that's your equation. Now we're going to say, if we're given 2 points on the line, I want to write it in slope intercept form and standard form. So, you're doing the same thing as you would if you were given a graph. Here's my 2 points. I need to find my slope. Remember, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 1 minus 6 goes on top. Then we have 5 minus a negative 2. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. Remember, 5 minus a negative 2, that's the same thing as 5 plus a positive 2. Keep change. 5 plus 2 is 7. So my slope is negative 5/7. So then I need to use either point, and each way is going to give you the same answer, and put it in point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So this is my point I'm going to use, 5, 1. There's my slope, negative 5/7. I put my point slope form. Y minus 1 equals negative 5/7. There's your slope. X minus x1, which is that 5. Alright, now that I'm in point slope form, I can change it to standard form and change it to slope intercept form. So the first thing I'm going to do is change it to slope intercept form. Start off with my point slope form. I'm going to distribute the negative 5/7. So negative 5/7 times x is negative 5/7 x. Negative 5/7 times a negative 5 is a positive, and I'm going to leave it in a fraction, 25/7. If you leave it in a fraction, a lot of times it becomes a little easier. Okay? And I still have y minus 1 on my left-hand side. I'm going to add 1 to both sides because I need y by itself to get y equals negative 5/7 x plus 32/7. Because this 1 is like saying you're adding 7/7. Okay, so it's the same thing as 7/7. And 25 plus 7 is 32, and you still have the same denominator. So this is our slope-intercept form. Now, standard form, we're going to start off again with point slope form. Okay, you're going to distribute the negative 5/7, do the same, and notice these two steps are the exact same. Okay, now, in standard form, I need x and y on the same side, so I'm going to add 5/7 x to both sides. I get 5/7 x plus y minus 1 equals 25/7. Then I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and I'm still at 32/7. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I yawn. Alright, so this is the same thing as 7/7. Okay, so 25/7 plus 7/7 is 32/7. Now, I have fractions in here, and I can't have fractions. So you remember to get rid of them, I multiply by the denominator. I've got a denominator there of 7 and one here of 7. So I multiply this entire thing by 7. 7 times 5/7 x is 5x. 7 times y is 7y. And 7 times 32/7 is 32. And that's our standard form. Alright, let's look at some more examples. Now, got 2 points yet again. Okay, so first thing I need to do is find my slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I do 4 minus 2, which is 2. And then negative 3/2 minus 1/2, right here, which is negative 4/2. Now keep it as 2 divided by negative 4/2. Now simplify it. This is just like a division right here. Negative 4/2 is negative 2. You know 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. So your slope really is negative 1. Now we're going to use either point that we have been given and point slope form to put it into and our slope to put it in point slope form. So I'm going to use this first point, 1/2, 2, and my slope, negative 1, put it in point slope form. Y minus 2 equals negative 1 times x minus 1/2. Okay, now I'm going to put it in slope intercept form. Start it at the very same point slope form. Okay, I need to distribute this negative 1, so I'm going to do negative 1 times x, which is negative 1x. And you don't have to write that negative 1 in front of it. You could have just written it as negative x. And then negative 1 times negative 1/2. That becomes a plus 1/2, a positive half. Alright, and on this side I still have y minus 2. Alright, I need y by myself, so I'm adding 2 to both sides. 1/2 plus 2 is 2 1/2. And over here you just have y and you still have the negative 1x. Alright, so you can write it as y equals negative 1x plus 2 1/2, or you can end up writing it as y equals negative x plus 2 1/2. Either way works and it means the same, because remember, if we don't put the 1 in front of the x, it's just understood as 1. Alright, standard form. Basically, the first step is the same. Go from point slope, distribute the negative 1 to everything. But this time, instead of adding 2 like we did this side to get y by itself, I need to move x over to y. So I do that by adding x to both sides. That gives me x plus y minus 2 equals 1/2. Add 2 to both sides, and I get x plus y equals 3/2. Now we know it's 2 1/2, but remember, we can't have a fraction in, or a mixed number, or a decimal in standard form. So to change that, I multiply the whole thing by 2. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times y is 2y, and 2 times 3/2 is 3. So that right there gives me my final answer in standard form.